Are we? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Accountant, part of the Ask the Accountant network. Aaron, what is that face for? What have you done?
I'll explain in a minute. Carry on.
Oh, dear. No, that's it. As always, guys, I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Aaron Patrick. Aaron, how are you, and how was your week?
Yeah. So the reason I was pulling that face is I was listening to the Ask the Accountant theme tune in mono. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm in a different location than normal. Blah blah blah. I've got a different headset and all this side of the stuff on. The microphone broke prior, so we had to quickly swap over. And for some reason, the Ask the Accountant theme tune was coming in mono. It sounded awful. So apologies for anyone who doesn't have the quality setup that's required to listen to Ask the Accountant, because I really do think that theme tune deserves to have a bit of a better kick to it. But yeah, no, this week has been busy. We spent most of it up in Leeds. We've been doing a lot of training and looking future with payroll. Got our head of payroll up, who's all the way in Dorset, so a right little mission for him to come up to Leeds. So that was it's probably what you have to do to get to Route to Growth, right? But
Yeah.
instead of flying it, he drove it in an electric car. So yeah, but we had a good week of like strategizing and trying to get the payroll, to figure out what's going right, what's going wrong, all that sort of stuff that goes with it. And then this week we've got the legendary Ross coming up to do some training for the whole team as well. So a whole week of her. She's done a whole thing for us of stuff that's going through. And at the weekend, It was work. I was just saying just before we went live, I edited 3 videos this weekend, 2 of which are already out. One of them goes out on Tuesday, normal QuickBooks Labs. That was like a 6 hour slog of recording, editing, doing the thumbnails, putting the things out, all that sort of stuff. But hopefully it's worth it. One of the videos was a look back at MTD and the source on the software, so we'll talk about it in the show. One of them was how I became James Bond just for 15 seconds. So I showed everyone how I do the whole video transition. So you make an appearance in that one, Jan. You should
Not again.
Yeah. I showed the what happened when, because you've seen obviously the you dancing in the crowd, right? Like that one. But there was a couple of takes on that particular video, and some of them were not quite as I asked for. So you get to see kind of the trial and error that's involved in these these processes that come forward. So that's good. What about yourself, Jan? Good week. It seems like you. I mean, from the office, it looks like you've had a productive week. It looks very. It's not to start to get some character in there. Looking good.
I got rid of the printer behind me on Monday.
That's what's on Monday missing.
Monday morning, you made a comment about the printer. Monday afternoon, Peter, the lead developer at Engager, made a comment about the printer and how it ruined the effect of it all. So the printer's now under my desk here. So yeah, I got rid of the printer to tidy it up a bit more. But
I was looking good with the Apple Macs as are on show. It's looking good.
Yeah. So, and then I was out in B&Q this weekend looking at paint to paint the walls and stuff. So, and I've been eyeing up IKEA desks and stuff to build my own setup for a desk as well. So yeah.
Are you going back to having 2 desks then, or?
No, just one big L shape, I think. But built from like I'm just buying the legs and the units and stuff myself, and then build it into the space that I've got for it, rather than trying to mold different desks into the same space.
Nice.
But yeah, And then last week in the firm was good. Busy. Jade was trying to get everything wrapped up because she's now off for the next 3 weeks. So I'm in
How are you
charge
going
for
to
3
cope?
weeks. She was quite worried, shall we say. At one point, like it was like 6:30 on Friday night, she rang me again saying, "Don't forget this, don't forget that." It's like, Jade, I ran the firm for 8.5 years before you became the ops manager. I think I'll cope. Yeah, and you didn't cope. It's like, thanks, Jade. Yeah,
She's
so
like, I don't have to go on holiday.
Yeah. I'm taking my laptop
I
with
can
me.
cancel
Bloody
it.
not. So yeah, it was a busy wind-up week. Obviously, VAT deadlines and MTD deadlines and stuff, but we'll come on to talk about that soon. But more importantly, let's have a look at who's in the chat today on the community. So we've got Kirsty St. John straight in there at 8:30 this morning. Good morning, everyone. Looks a bit grey in my bit of Cambridgeshire. Here's hoping the sun will and a calm week.
Are we supposed to have like a stupid heat wave? Isn't it supposed to be like worse than it's been? The peak
19
heat
degrees in Edinburgh today. That's the plan.
I've had 30 in Leeds.
You can keep 30. Remember, I'm always about 10 degrees cooler than you guys. So
true.
This
True.
is
It's
why
what
I live
happens
in
when you go
Edinburgh.
north of the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Winter is coming and all that.
Just here permanently. It's beautiful. Cheryl says, "Good morning, hot again." So it's hot wherever Cheryl is.
Yeah. That's why she didn't just beat Kurt. You know, we don't want to say this out loud, Cheryl, but this is what's it? Third week in the row you've not got that number one slot. You know, we don't want to say we expect more. It's just you put such high expectations on yourself.
Rahul says, "Good morning, everyone," and from sunny London. Hope everyone had a great weekend. We hope you had a great weekend too. Paul Whitehouse says, "Morning all." Morning, Paul. Paul Ingram says, "Good morning, everyone." Good morning, Paul. Dave says, "Grey and cloudy and normally sunny Cardiff." There we go. So mixed weather reports this morning. Bookkeeper Superhero Natasha says, "Good morning." Good morning. Paul Ingram says, "Sunny here in Salisbury." Lovely. I love Salisbury. Love all the history down there. Lisa says, "Morning." Good morning to Lisa. Suzanne says, "Morning, everyone. Morning, everyone, to a recovery week after VAT and MTD submissions." Absolutely. Greg, our listener from Australia, says, "Good morning, everyone." Morning, Greg. Hope you are well. Catherine has typed some kind of foreign wording saying "hello again from Spain" at the end. I assume what she's typed beforehand is "hello from Spain," but Google Translate's not kicked in there. That's disappointing, Google. Stephanie says, "Good morning, gents." Morning, Stephanie. Paul Whitehouse said, "Aaron, I've watched your MTD ranking video and would be good to see a review of some of the other softwares like Coconut and maybe even bring in options like TaxCalc."
Well, the problem with that is I purposely did this video based on what I filed over the past, since 2022. So, and I don't know, like, can I jump on the Coconut bandwagon? Will TaxCalc ever go cloud? All these questions are up for the debate. You know what I mean?
TaxCalc's going cloud. It's already announced that. But yeah, because you don't do MTD bridging, do you? You use
not the moment. No.
And that's
bridging to us is we use either QuickBooks or whatever, and we journal them in for now. So
yeah, absolutely. Paul says it's 19 degrees in Portsmouth here, reaching 26 later. 19 degrees is our max today. I'm very excited. Catherine says, "Yes, 36 in some areas. Climate breakdown in action, friends." Definitely is. Right, that is everyone that's in the chat. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. MTD it. Third week in a row we've opened with this. But I'm getting fed up of the whinging, if I'm honest. I think at some point you have to accept it is what it is, and you need to look for the opportunities. And I think the biggest opportunity here is that now with so most of the clients that we've done MTD it for our annual clients. So we've now got 4 more touch points a year with these clients than we had beforehand. One of them I've already sold bookkeeping to going forwards. We're now looking at the others going, right, well, next quarter, let's try and have a look at, do we refer them to get a will done? Do we need to refer them for a mortgage? Like, with these extra touch points, in my view, are an absolute goldmine, because I know the more we speak to a client, the more we can upsell, cross-sell, and refer to our partners. So I'm loving the consequences of this MTD it, and the fact that it's forcing our clients and us to talk more often. I appreciate we've had it easy. Well, I say we. As far as I'm aware, we've had it easy because Jay dealt with it all, which meant I had it very easy. But B, she said it all went fine. Apart from the agent authorization stuff at the start, it's all been absolutely fine. So in my mind, the next quarter is going to be really easy because we haven't got to do the agent authorization stuff anymore. And if anything, we can start ramping, we're going to have a look at our communications and our emails chasing and our WhatsApps chasing people for the information, etc. To try and, I think we're going to bring in an email and a WhatsApp like 2 weeks before the end of the period, going, don't forget in 2 weeks' time, this quarter ends. We need to start doing that, and we're also going to bring in a calling out thing where, like at the end of week 1 after the quarter, well, the admins is going to start putting phone calls out to people saying, can you give us an ETA on your documents and information that we're going to get, so we can start planning workloads. But yeah, apart from that, a bit of a refinement to our communication, I think we're going to be going for a rinse and repeat. How's it been for your firm?
Overall, absolutely fine. I mean, again, I was in a bit of a privileged position. I've been filing since 2022, so the actual filing of it and expectation, and we've gone through pain points and all that sort of stuff, we felt like we were ready for. In hindsight, I wish I'd been stronger in saying what software we were going to support through MTD. I kind of feel like
you've been banging on about QuickBooks for 5 years for this.
Well, I mean, watch my ranking video and you'll understand where QuickBooks fell in that one. But as a MTD solution, QuickBooks was fine, and it was the easiest one for us just to do. I mean, we did over 50 submissions, and I think it was 2 on free agent, but there probably should have been more. We just, that's what fell. And I think there'll be a lot more in the next transient of them. There was 2 on Hammock, which will probably end up having more as well, as more rental properties fall into it as well. So kind of getting to grips with Hammock is important, because it's not the most, and I said this in my video, like the one disadvantage Hammock has is it's not perfect for agents and bookkeepers, right? Like, we can't get that fuzzy feeling of everything's okay. And we had 1 on Xero, which was an absolute disaster. I think I spent more on the Xero submission than we have on all of the QuickBooks ones combined. It was madness, right? Like, it was absolutely mad. They completely and utterly made it far too complicated for what it needed to be. But as I said in the video when I was ranking them, I do give them a pass, because they were, as we said before, like, they were trying to go for the more complicated MTD submissions. So it's kind of like they've aimed for the top, right? And it was more complicated inherently, right? So it is what it is. I just feel like, because we don't do that much in Xero, it was even just getting us added as an accountant was hoops to jump through. And then we had to make sure we were the right permission level, and then we had to go back to the client because they hadn't ticked the box to say that, it was just back and forth. And again, because we weren't 100% like au fait with Xero, we were in client meetings with them, with this particular client, and it was like, two of us had to be there to try and figure out how to get the right permission set up, and it's almost embarrassing, right? Like, and that's why I'm saying why we should have been stronger and said, look, we can do the QuickBooks ones, we do the free agent ones, we can do the things, because that's our bag, right? And we can do them with our eyes closed. These other solutions like Coconut, I think Paul was saying, and all the others, like, there are other people probably better suited to doing those ones, right? And I think we've got to be stronger at that and everything else. I wouldn't say we've been able to upsell, because I feel like it's too much of a, what's the phrase, like, it's too sensitive at the moment, right? Like, people are frustrated because they're having to go through this. But that being said, when I looked at like price and everything else, I would have had to have charged. We charge our client, these typical clients we're looking at, in a, if they're price sensitive, we go for kind of an opportunity where they'll get what we call a short set of accounts, and we do their tax returns. If you add those two figures together and look at what we're charging for MTD, actually some of them are a little bit less than what we were charging before, right? Because it's spread over and everything else. Actually, they're doing. We're definitely not charging them any more for MTD. There are somewhere now they're having to pay more than they've ever had to do before in their life, but that's because they've never represented before, and now they feel like they have to be represented because MTD is kind of forcing them. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts in the client's point of view as to what feels like it's right or wrong. Because I feel like that's the only thing that is still the elephant in the room, is that am I being forced into this? And those conversations we've had to have with clients that are uncomfortable, right? Because they're on the back foot, they're negative anyway, they don't want to have to spend this extra money, they don't want to have to use this extra software, they've been doing it for 30 years and it's been fine, and now they're forced. Those sort of stories are still difficult to have conversations with. Thankfully, a lot of the ones that in this first section, this first grouping, are already like VAT registered anyway, so they're already on software, and it was just a case of one extra submission, blah blah blah. But it is difficult for those ones thinking it. And I think my overarching, when I look back at it and go through this, I think I'm disappointed with our community in places. I think our community has, and I don't mean that's the account, I mean the accounting community, right? I feel like the accounting bookkeeping community has let ourselves down in places, because we've used this as a bit of a let's bash other accountants. I don't know if you've seen those social media posts of, well, I got this done in no time and it was so simple for me and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, very glad for you and everything else, but in the real world, there's a lot more moving parts, a lot more complications, a lot more situations and issues. And the people saying that, well, it's cheaper than a Domino's pizza to get yourself MTD like ready to file. I'm like, for some people, the Domino's pizza is actually quite a luxury item. Do you know what I mean? Like, for a lot of people, the reason they're but for some people, the reason they're doing this extra piece of income that's now made them having to do MTD is because they're struggling financially, right? And this is top up to them so that they can get through. And when you see some posts are saying, oh, well, it's cheaper than Domino's pizza, this, it's really insensitive. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like as a community, we've kind of let ourselves down a little bit, bashing other accountants for taking too long and for moaning and all this, that and the other. And I just feel like we could.
I did something very silly. I didn't charge any of my clients for MTD at quarter filing one.
How do you manage that?
So, well, we've done it deliberately. Because we just didn't know. We didn't know how long things were going to take.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So what we've told our clients is we're going to do the first quarter for free. Yeah. And then quarter two onwards will be chargeable. Because we didn't want to put in a stupidly low price and then realize, or what we thought was a reasonable price, and it turns out that was too low. We didn't want to put in a high price and then feel like we are being unfair to our clients. So, but we also knew there was going to be a lot of testing and trial and error and potential hiccups going to come up, and clients we didn't want them to feel like they're paying for poor service, I suppose is one of our biggest concerns. So we actually said, look, we're going to do quarter one free of charge. After quarter one, so okay, this week, I'm going to finalize our pricing for going forwards. Because although we've done some testing and obviously witnessed all the stuff you've dealt with and stuff, it's like you say, until you try it with your client base, you don't know. Like, the one thing I had in common with you was actually all of our clients that were on MTD It this year are VAT registered. So they are all on software already. So all of our filings were Xero, QuickBooks and Free Agent. No issues whatsoever. We didn't have any issues filing or anything. We had a couple of issues where with HMRC data being different, like addresses, but we know the VAT, the MTD registration should be scrapped by, it should be automated by September. So that for next April onwards is less of an issue. So yeah, it's, for me, it's best for customer service and longevity and retention if we trial and error this one, because we haven't got huge amounts. We only had 30 odd, free of charge, and then we'll charge going forwards. So yeah, so we need to review it all this week, come up with some learnings if we've got any major ones, and yeah, come up with our fee structure, which I've always planned it to be in line with how much we charge, give or take, for VAT.
Okay.
Or the lower end of our VAT charges, because our VAT rate of filings kind of scale up in line with revenue. So we're probably looking around that point. But yeah, we knew in hindsight we got off extremely lucky. We had a very simple MTD filing process.
Yeah.
But we knew there was a high risk of this being quite detrimental to our client relationships if it started going wrong and the clients were paying us for it. Yeah. So we held off to give that, goodwill, customer service, whatever you want to call it. Like one of our mantras in our firm is retention first. So our focus is retaining that customer before anything else. So yeah, that's what we did. But I think I'll do the maths later and stuff with time logs and stuff like that. I'll get all the data exported out of Engager, put it into Claude and let it do the maths for me. But I think it'll work out approximately where I planned it to work out in line with the VAT returns. But yeah, I agree with you. Like the amount of people that are on LinkedIn and stuff, like bashing those that were struggling, but then those struggling bashing those that have done it. That, because fair play to the ones that have not struggled, because actually most of them will not have struggled because they've put a lot of time and planning into this, and they've spent the resource and invested in coming up with processes and systems and testing. Like you were testing for years on this. That's R&D in effect, isn't it? That's R&D to this new service. So yeah, or if it's not been a hassle for them because it's just not the client base they normally generally deal with. Maybe they've only had a few landlord submissions to do because all of their clients are LTDs and they've just got a few properties, and that, great, good on them. But we're just it's such a school playground effect in the accounting and bookkeeping industry at times where we all turn on each other for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it really just brings out the worst of us as a community or as a profession, right? And I know this isn't like for like, but it's like I put the post up about my rankings and everything else and go through that. And it just, you want to have a debate, right, of what people think. And look, I'm being quite ironic here because I have moaned about MTD, but I haven't moaned about people or anything else. I've moaned about two things: A, software letting us down, and B, HMRC letting us down in places, right? And I feel like both of those are fair game. If you think about it, we're the customers for them, right? Like we're the customers, and they always say customers always right. So in my eyes, I'm allowed to moan and say. But I put a little post up about ranking and everything else, and I got that. And I really like the guy. He's trying to push this narrative of we should be signing a petition so that we get an extension in our filing deadlines, right? Like you've seen it, and we've spoke about it and everything else, right? And he put that as well, the software was fine, but why don't we there? And I think, I don't know, I really do feel like we're completely missing the mark with that, because actually the clients that I've spoken to about MTD, once we've got over the frustration and the thing and all this, and we got the moaning out of the way, and then we do what we do best as accountants and bookkeepers, and we become their therapists, and we talk them through this, and we get them off the edge of the thing, and we try and bring them in, and we start talking to them fully. We then have the opportunity to actually go, don't you think this is quite nice? You now know what your tax bill is going to be. Like, we've now created you a quarter, and you know if you stick this money into a bank account now, you're going to be all right for the tax bill coming up. Like, we're preparing for them. And we went through the clients, and we were like, you do know now, you know what your debtors, at the end of the year, every year, when I go to you and I say, is this a bad debt or not? And you look at me sheepishly and go, I didn't even know that person still owed me money. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's those sort of things where, like you were saying, those touch points are so valuable to these small businesses. Like, that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to say. We're more than just a compliance first. We're all trying to say that same narrative, right? We're all saying advisory and everything else.
All right. We're looking at, is there referral opportunities and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because we're very business minded like that. But
yeah.
The other benefit, as you say, is we're now seen as proactive with these clients. These clients have now seen a greater value in us because, like you say, I know I need to put this quarter's savings away for my tax bill. I know that these are unpaid invoices. I need to go and chase that instead of waiting for another 9 months before I go and start chasing it. And then it's really hard work. So yeah, I think there's a huge value add here that a lot of people are missing, and whether that is just a touch point, because the more times you speak to people that are customers, the more they'll stay with you, the more loyal they become to you, or whether it's the opportunity to upsell bookkeeping or whatever it is. There's opportunities here, whether it's a goodwill bank or money in the actual bank, different matter, but there is opportunities.
We take it for granted, don't we, that the apps connect to the bank, and the apps take a photo on your phone and it extracts the information. Like, it's everyone in the asset accounting community are almost bored of that, right? We're waiting for the next big thing, right? But I'm showing these people, and they're absolutely astounded. They're like, wait a minute, it knows what I've spent in my bank. It's already seen those transactions. What do you mean I could just take a photo? What, I don't have to use that shoebox I've had for 25 years, and I don't have to keep emptying that out once a year and put it into the thing, and what, HMRC will accept the fact that I'm taking photos and that will be enough? Do you know what I mean? We're educating those people of technology that, again, we're almost bored of. We've almost like to us it's like still it's almost like coal times for us, like sticking coal in a thing, right? But for these it's like absolutely they are looking at this as the most amazing thing they've ever seen in their lives, and it's really satisfying just to show them this technology and how this technology works. And there's a cost associated with it, but when you tell them that they're not going to have to spend that whole 2 days at the end of on the 28th of January putting it all together to send to us, and it's now going to be there, and it means that as soon as 5th of April comes along next year, we're there or thereabouts ready to file their tax return. That when that quarter one when quarter four, of next year's done, we're going to be issuing those final declarations pretty much straight away next time, and that's amazing, right? Like, that's really powerful for them. But normally these type of clients, 28th of January, we're chasing them, going, do you want to get a fine or not? You know what I mean? So,
and this is the other part that I've seen clients that are normally December, January type clients for giving us their tax return stuff. They wanted to get that into us and out of the way of before their first quarter one filing was done.
Yeah.
Another intangible benefit.
Yeah.
So
I understand this. There is a lot of pressure in certain circumstances and everything else. I know the accounting industry is in some circumstances what they need. Like Paul, for example, must have really struggled getting this quarter one out because of the numbers involved and everything else. But I think for the vast majority of accountants, bookkeepers, it is a positive. Like we are seeing a net positive out of this, and I just love it. And the technology has been born out of it, right? I was playing around with Sage Embedded Services in the weekend as well. Like this idea that I could data entry on my Tide app, and it appears directly in the Sage accounting area. Like I don't need a bank connection and everything else. I don't need, to go through the bank transactions and trying to interpret what they are and stuff. Like when they're making payments on their Tide app, they're data entering for me at that point, and they're collecting that, and that data then accessible for me to use and everything else. So, yeah, I generally feel that what this has done is made those software solutions go and think and try and find solutions for us and try and find better ways for us to help our clients. And if that Sage Embedded Services can go anywhere near what they want it to do, that they've got plans that you could ask a question about a transaction directly in the banking app, right? Like your client's made a payment and it's popped up and you go, oh, what was that for? And any chance you get me a receipt for that? Because, wait a minute, that could be a P11D issue or whatever it's going to be, right? Like that's where that proactiveness really can start to come in, because we're starting to see those transactions in real time. I generally think that that's all coming from the fact that MTD was such a pivoting point for us as an accountancy profession and bookkeeping profession that we needed to rely on the vendors to come up with cool solutions. And I feel like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right, let's go through the comments on this.
Oh, one question to you first. Did you not do the tax calc bridging idea that you were going to do? Did you backtrack on that?
Didn't need to in the end.
Awesome.
The plan was, if we've got any clients that aren't on software, we'll use the tax calc bridging solution. But once we reviewed our client list, so even the ones that weren't, so I reviewed it like a year ago. I reviewed it 6 months ago. And in the last 6 months, some of the ones that were between the 50 and 90,000 mark have voluntarily registered for VAT or have crossed the threshold to register anyway. So by the time we got to it, actually, we didn't need the tax calc bridging software because all of our clients were on Xero, QuickBooks, or Free Agent for their VAT returns. So they went on to carry on with them for the MTD returns.
Because I know at one point you were thinking maybe let them use whatever software they want, but we'll just file via tax calc and kind of bring them all in. You didn't go down that route.
We didn't do that route in the end because the desktop software and everyone having access to it and stuff. And then we're like, hang on a minute, we don't need to do that route because everyone is literally on software.
Cool.
So we'll revisit that for April next year to give us a backup plan. But yeah, I mean, also while Xero and QuickBooks and stuff are doing licenses so bloody cheap at the moment, to try and convince you to get them on it, then yeah, you kind of wonder what the deals will be at the time next year. So
100%. And I think for me, the fallback plan for if they aren't on software is Sage Embedded or Free Agents Metal, so depending on what bank they're on. But I think, to me, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you're going to get something to submit at that point. It might not be, it might be missing some outside of things, but at least we can submit something quarterly for them. With little friction to the client whatsoever. Then when it comes to year end, we're back to the traditional way of being able to gather the data and try and fill in the gaps and everything else goes with it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Karen Walters, happy for Johan. My clients aren't the upsell type, more the hanging out for retirement plumber type. That's fine. But now that plumber who's waiting to retire has now got 4 contact points more than he had with you or she had with you before. So there's still value add because now they're going to be stickier with you, because all it would potentially take is someone to come along and go, oh, you're paying X amount. I'm going to charge you Y amount for a tax return. Why don't you come over? Whereas now they're like, well, actually, Karen looks after me. She's done this, does that. I'm going to stick with Karen. So there's intangible benefits, like we were just saying, as well as the tangible upsells and cross sells.
Yeah, and especially if they're CIS, right? Like
Yeah.
those CIS clients, I really hope HMRC come to some sort of like realization that, yeah, okay, quarterly payments sound like a bit of a carrot on the stick, and there's some people who really want that, and and hopefully that will be the incentive they need to go to MTD, right? But also, is there a world where we can get quarterly repayments? Because there's some clients out there who would, like, that would be life changing for them, right? Like, they don't have to wait till the end of the year to get that refund. They could get that refund during the year. I think that could be huge.
Absolutely. Sue Green says, good morning from Belgium, traveling back from south of France. 23 degrees at 9:30 in the morning there. Oof. It's going to be a hot day over in France. Paul Whitehouse.
Safe journey.
Have to agree with Johan. We have so many switched to bookkeeping services for MTD IT. I'm really pleased with how the clients have transitioned. I expected more pushback, to be honest. There we go. So yeah,
Good.
huge opportunity.
Good to hear.
Cheryl says, I only had one this time submitted on Xero. It was much easier than I expected it to be. Yeah, we've not had any issues on Xero and submitting, but that could be that we got our settings right by chance originally. Who knows?
I mean, you're used to what permissions and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had one case where our clients kept inviting this email address that wasn't associated with our account, so it was going into its own little. It wasn't in the practice, right? It was in its own little. What do you call it? So yeah, and again, we had a really complicated use case, and we purposely put them on, like purposely wanted it into Xero for that sort of purpose. So yeah, that's one of it.
Yeah. Cool. Kirsty says that was why we put free into beta, no charge that year, but to give us an idea of what was needed. Absolutely. I mean, we did try to put some people into beta, and they kept getting rejected for various reasons of complexity and stuff. So it just didn't happen for us.
So this is a bit I don't understand. I got rejected. No, I got accepted, then rejected, then accepted, because they kept changing the things and everything else. And also my personal tax was, because I kept having to put myself in because I couldn't find incentive enough as a client to go in, right? So it was always me. I went to check the other day. I have 29 missed submissions. So everyone out there who was stressed about MTD, don't you worry. I don't think any one of you has had 29 missed submissions for quarter one, because I kept adding like income stream, and then because at first it was consultancy and rental, and I was like testing those out, and I was like, I might as well just call them what they are: Sage test, Xero test, different income streams that I was created for each one. So yeah, I've got 29 missed submissions at this point in time. So probably going to go to jail for it. I think that's what they said.
I mean, that's not even jail anymore. That's a black site.
Good job the death penalty's not there, isn't it? I mean, that could be right.
I heard HMRC for that back. Suzanne says, found Xero great for submissions, except for the last minute code mapping for each and every client.
Me, that did. Why were we doing this?
So yeah, the only clients we had issues with code mapping on were the ones that weren't using, like, they'd created their own complete chart of accounts. Whereas if you were using the default Xero chart of accounts, they looked fairly mapped anyway. So it wasn't too much of a hassle. But again, if you've got clients with custom chart of accounts, then you're going to have problems. Which
in like my situation where it's the complex MTD scenarios, of course they're going to have the chart. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just another hoop to jump, and that's why I said it just took so much longer than it should have done.
Yeah, and unfortunately though, those were the complex clients that we really needed to be able to put onto beta and weren't allowed to.
100%. Yeah.
And Dave from Cardiff says, shout out to Hammock, which was really easy to file and really easy to split property income between husband and wife. There we go.
It was brilliant. I just wish Hammock had a balance sheet view or something. It's as accountants and bookkeepers, we can go in and just get that tick, tick, tick. It was a very much, I felt like I was spending a lot more time reviewing a hammock job than I would normally, and I wanted to review all of the MTD ones this time, right? I wanted to be involved and figure it out, and kind of like you were saying, like figuring out the pricing's right and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I literally reviewed every single MTD submission was there, and I felt like I was spending way too long, way too long on the hammock ones, because I was just like, I literally was going through transaction by transaction because I couldn't have that holistic view of going, oh yeah, that's fine, that's good, we can move on, sort of thing. So that's the only request I would have with Hammock. I think there needs to be some sort of trial balance sheet view, whatever they want to do, just to give us that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Absolutely. Cool. Right, let's move on to some app updates and releases. So Vinyl, the AI meeting recorder, have launched the ability to import audio and transcripts from other recording devices like your Claude or Copilot or whatever it is. They've also launched pre-meeting briefings that helps give you an insight as to what about your client before you go into the meeting with the client, so you go in prepared.
Nice.
And this is the bit that I'm excited about. They're soon launching the ability to book meetings via links. So think Calendly, TidyCow, etc. Scratch that. Just use the Vinyl meeting booking tool that they're launching. It sunsets another product for you in your firm, which is quite nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the booking links. I won't be able to get rid of my booking links personally straight away, because these booking links are going to be for just booking into someone's diary, which will work for the rest of my team. But I've got some booking links where people pay at the time of booking, so for like consultation calls and stuff. So that's all linked to Stripe. So it's on their roadmap, apparently. It's something they're looking at. But once they've done that, then I'll move all my OnPoint and Route to Growth booking links into Vinyl. It just makes sense, doesn't it, to have your meetings booked in the same ecosystem that's also recording and transcribing and analyzing those meetings.
Yeah, we were talking off air that, I mean, my assumption is because the reason I still pay Calendly, and I think Calendly is a fine product, but it still frustrates me. Like, it is, the learning curve to get it absolutely spot on is ridiculous, right? And it's such sensitive like scenarios. If you get that wrong, you're just going to annoy the person on the other end, especially when it's a PNC, right? A potential client. Like, you do not want to be annoying them. But I'm stuck with Calendly because, to my knowledge, they're the only ones that does the whole multi-calendar situation.
Yes, where they can look at multiple calendars and go, that slot there is when Johan is free. That would be another thing I need to look at. Yeah,
which I wouldn't expect Vinyl to bring that straight out of the gate, because that is a big ask, right? That's a big ask. But we were talking about the other day, there is that, or if it ain't, we're talking about it off air. Maybe that's where Claude becomes useful for us. Maybe we set it once a day to go into our calendars and just create a separate calendar. Aaron Patrick's calendar at gmail.com. I wouldn't use Gmail, whatever our Google one done or whatever. But we'll have I'm thinking about creating a separate email address that's just purely my calendar, that will always be up to date with and it collates it all, and then we can have it in there. And I think that's something where Claude or some agent could be really powerful for. So yeah, watch this space, because I think that's something that I desperately need at this point in time. Like, there's too many moving parts, too many things going on, and it would be great just to have that one calendar view where I can go, right, okay, all right, yeah, no, I do have space here, or I can fit a meeting in there. And then we could add things like Vinyl directly to that. It could book in quite easily for us and find the slots it needs. And also, it could also go in, actually, that idea where it collates before the meeting. If it doesn't have to look at all the individual meetings, like calendars, to find it, that could be huge. So maybe that's kind of instead of us, almost frustrated because the system can't do it, maybe that's where we have to kind of own it ourselves and go, look, we've got to build our own fix for this, or we've got to change our habits to make it easier going forward. I mean, you could have it that every calendar meeting you have will add that other calendar, right? And it is just you could have it that way. But I mean, it reminds me of a video I did couple of weeks back of QuickBooks as they brought in a new feature where you can create meetings requests through QuickBooks. It's their kind of push into the CRM tool-esque element of it. And I was playing around with it, and it does what it does on the tin, right? You're in your customer view, you can send a calendar entry. It was broken for a long time, but now it's fixed, it's going through. But the weird thing is, it doesn't seem to understand if you've got a meeting or not. And you have to manually set what times you're available, and it doesn't look in your calendar. I'm like, come on, guys, that's like the most important bit. I know for people like me who's got multiple calendars, that will never work unless we do this solution I'm talking about. But come on, we have to. The minimum we have to have is that idea that it's all kind of singing and dancing all in that one thing, right? And
it's like when they launched accounts, and it's like, here's your accounts document ready to. It's like, but I've now got to go and type in all of the accounts notes manually. So is that not the basic minimum viable requirement that is there? So very QuickBooks of them in that.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because all it is so they can put a tick box on a feature list somewhere, isn't it? But actually, it's like fixed asset register. Oh, they can put a tick in there, but is it actually a fixed asset register?
No. And Plord, that's Plord with a P. Note taker has released, allegedly they've released an integration into Google Calendar, which Aaron Patrick seems to have access to and I don't, which I'm not bitter and begrudging against at all, because I introduced Aaron to Plord. But Aaron, what have you found and how's it going?
So it's what drew this conversation about having one calendar to rule them all. But it does what it says on the tin, and it was the missing bit. It was the only bit that Plord that really frustrated me over Microsoft 365 and Copilot and all those solutions I was using in the past, where because it didn't know who was already in the meeting, or at least there was a manual process of telling it who was in the meeting. It wasn't able to kind of get those notes absolutely spot on from day one. Now it can read the meeting notes before, it understands what the context of that meeting is going to be, and it gets ready to prepare that meeting for you straight away. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So far, so good. I mean, I've got to kind of be picky and choosy what calendar. It's only Google at the moment, so we've kind of tested it on that sort of thing and put it through from there. But the idea is flawless, right? Like, you go into the meeting, it already knows the context, already knows the people are going to be there. It can start trying to analyze it all for you, and it's job done. I am going to be moving on to vinyl for the firm very soon, but I don't know if I'm leaving Plord. I think I like it. I really do like the idea that it's on near enough every device I've got. I can just quickly get it out in a meeting and just put it in the middle of the table, and happily it records away. I'm still a big fan. Go for it.
Plord's MCP now to Claude is phenomenal. So now you can connect Plord to Claude, and you can tell in Claude, you can go, oh, I had a meeting with so-and-so and so-and-so about this topic. What did we discuss about this? Or generate a report based on all of these meetings covering these topics, and it will go through all of your meetings, and it's very, very powerful, because you've now got that second brain of information in Plord, being able to talk to Claude or ChatGPT. It's very powerful. Huge. So I still use, whilst everything I do for On Point Accounting and Rich Growth goes onto vinyl, so the team can see it and understand it all. It's like a backup. Plord does everything, records all of that as well, and then it acts as my second brain when I'm in Claude playing around with stuff. So really powerful.
But I can't remember if you said it was one of the updates, but now you can add that information to vinyl anyway, right? Like you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't recorded a meeting in vinyl by mistake, and maybe it was in person or something, and I put it on Claude but not vinyl, I can export the audio and or the transcript from Plord and put it into vinyl if I wanted to. So
it makes so much sense, right? Like that. I mean, it doesn't matter what solution you're looking to use. Because again, my only thing about vinyl that it's not that I'm frustrated about, but it just puts me off a little bit is this whole adds another person to the call. I just don't like that. I just don't like that. But yeah.
So I've seen a very cool example of using that though.
Okay.
Someone was using it, and they instead of just having like a nice on point accounting / root to growth, this call's being recorded type thing. They've got this call's being recorded at the top, and then they've got a sales option with a QR code, so that they're promoting a new service. They're using it as a billboard.
Yeah.
Actually, that's quite clever. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just more space to upsell, cross sell. Like, have you got a will? No, you can tell I'm on a kick for wills at the moment. Like, have you got a will? If not, scan this QR code and we can help you with our will partner type thing. Like, as a bit of sales retail estate, that's phenomenal.
Really,
it's another shop window.
Yeah, that's good shout. Good shout. It's just that having it in there it makes me go,
Yeah, but yeah. Right now, we are literally about a month away from Accountex Manchester. We are opening the doors to anyone that's attending Accountex Manchester who would like to jump on at what we call a podcast pit stop. So a podcast pit stop is, for the unknowing of you, is where we sit down and we do a 20-minute or so interview with you, fixed list of questions. Everyone gets asked the same questions. And it's just your opportunity, if you've never done a podcast or anything, to find out how relaxed and enjoyable it can be. And also gives you a video and a podcast and stuff that will go out in the weeks after the event for you to share on your socials and stuff like that, help build up your personal brand and profile. So if you've not done a podcast pit stop with us before and you are attending Accountex Manchester, all you need to do is click on the link that Aaron's going to put into the comments now to be able to book in for a podcast pit stop with Aaron at Accountex Manchester.
Ta-da!
There we go. It's in the link. It's in the comments for you all. So yeah, give that a click. You'll be able to book in and schedule your slot. As I say, guys, we ask that if you've only book in if you've not done one before, because we want to give as many people the opportunity to do this already. We've already done nearly 100 podcast pit stops. So that's nearly 100 people who have had an experience of podcasting that wouldn't normally have had the opportunity to get an experience. So please feel free to book in if you would like to join us on a podcast pit stop at Accountex Manchester. Right. I've only got 7 minutes. That should be long enough for this rant. So I want our community to be wising up to something. We keep seeing all of these softwares, whether it's Xero, QuickBooks, whoever, saying, we've got links to Claude, we've got links to ChatGPT. You can process your client data through this link and ask the deep and meaningful questions. But what they're not telling you is about the security concerns. Now, I love Claude. I love ChatGPT. I use Claude all day, every day, and I use it a lot with my client data. But that's because I'm on the right tier. My firm is on the Teams tier. I think I pay like £500 a month to Claude for all my team members to be on it. The reason I'm bringing this up is I'm seeing more and more social posts about connect Claude to this, connect ChatGPT to that. And this isn't coming from Claude or ChatGPT. It's coming from the software vendors in our space. And at no point is there any caveats, asterisks, or anything like that saying, only do this if you're using a Teams or enterprise package with one of these platforms. So I was speaking to a couple of people last week about them using this tool, and they're doing it on the free version of Claude or ChatGPT. That is exposing their clients' data to Claude or ChatGPT to use as learnings, research. Human individuals at Claude or ChatGPT will be able to review those conversations because that's part of the T's and C's for the free version. So I don't care whether it's a practice management tool, a CRM, bookkeeping software, an account software. If a software is offering you a connector to Claude or ChatGPT, please, please, please only use it if you are paying for teams or enterprise level of that software. Otherwise, you are putting your client data at risk. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that software vendors that are promoting these APIs, or MCPs as they're called in the world of AI, and these connectors and stuff, are not educating their users properly in the risks and the requirements of you have to use a fairly expensive level of this product to make sure it's secure. Now, I get why they're not doing that, because it's not as fun for the marketing team. Marketing aren't going to be happy about going, we've got this amazing connector, but only use it if you're spending 80 quid a month with Claude. Like, that doesn't sound as good, does it? But we need to be responsible about what we're using our clients' data on. So I think there's a ethical obligation from these softwares that are developing these connectors to educate their users properly, and they're not. So we are educating you now. Do not use the connectors from any softwares into ChatGPT or Claude unless you are on Teams or enterprise level subscriptions to them. Anything to add, Aaron?
And make sure your AI policies are up to date, right? Because it's so easy. We're at such a fast pace at this point in time, and those AI policies in your firm should be what only allowed to use. You should only be using, the right version and the right level and everything else, because it's really difficult to keep on top of that and to keep up to date and make sure you're not going to get yourself into the hot water later down the line. I know I forgot who was promoting. I'll try and find a LinkedIn post and put it through, but there was a LinkedIn post promoting the best kind of AI policies to use and how to do them and everything else. And yeah, it would be really, really good to just review them, have a look at them, because that AI policy should be saying you should only use the Teams version, right? Like that is what those policies are for, and it should be a case of following suit on that. So kind of do yourself a favor and review those at the same time, I would say.
But that's also, like, our policy does say that. So we should only be using Claude Teams as an AI tool.
Yeah, it's so easy for your team just to use their own personal Claude, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy because they're probably using it day to day.
That's also why we've been proactive and we've gone to our team and gone, who wants a login? Like, we don't care, we don't care about your job role. We don't care how much it's going to cost us. Who wants a login? Who's going to use it?
Yeah.
Because what we don't want is them going, I'd really like to use it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to use it, or I've not got a login, so I'll just use my own personal one.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to make sure that door is really open, and you've got to really embrace your team who want to use AI by making sure that they've got the right tool in front of them to do it. Because if you don't give them access to that tool, they will go and find another way around to do it. And that's when we start falling into security issues.
It was Billy. Now, what I'll do is I'll tag her and put a Ask the Accountant thing on there. But she's queen of AI, isn't she? So it's definitely the one to kind of think. But yeah, use this as an opportunity. Like, it's a wake up call for everyone, isn't it? It's one of those. That's what the policies are there for. Let's make sure that all policies are in place and everything else goes with it.
Absolutely. Right, Aaron, what are you up to this week apart from rewriting your AI policy?
Rewriting AI. Voz is here, so we've got the queen of training. I'm really excited. I can see some big opportunity. We're rolling out the work papers to everyone, and I must say, I think I've cooked. I think there's some really good bits in there that no other working papers on the planet has opportunity. How's this for an idea? Just out there, it automatically grades your clients. Sorry, automatically grades your output for that client based on certain criteria, so that when it comes to things like appraisals and stuff like that, we've got some tangible bits of stuff to talk about, and maybe we're going to move a client from person A to person B because they're not, they're at risk, or whatever it's going to be, and all that's all built into the working papers as it's been done on a quarterly or annual basis.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, so
What about yourself?
I'm manning the fort for the next 3 weeks, so we'll see how we get on. I need to finalize my client outcome panel process. So I wanted to go proper 1700s on the team last week, but I decided to modernize it a bit. So basically, in the 1700 in the Navy, if you lost your ship as a captain, whether it was due to beaching it, weather, it was lost in battle, that captain faced a court martial to see if it was their fault or not. So I thought that's a bit, well, actually, Jay told me that was a bit old school. So,
but now she's not here for 3 weeks.
Exactly. But no, so I transformed it into a medical analysis of when a doctor loses a patient in a hospital, if it hits certain criteria, it's put up for review against a panel of experts and their main goal is, did we do everything we can to solve this problem? Was it inevitable and there was no fault anywhere? Or are there learnings to be had? So I'm taking that approach with my client managers losing clients. So if a client leaves us and we haven't dismissed them out of choice, and they aren't just shutting their business down and going off into employment or something, and it's over a certain value per year to us, we're going to review it once a month. We're going to review all those cases from the previous month and decide if there's going to be, and we're going to have a chat. Myself and Jade will have a chat with the individual who was the client manager, A, to see if we can learn anything from it and improve processes and systems so it doesn't happen again. But B, just so we can put a line under it and go, you know what, you did everything you could to keep this client happy. There was no mistakes. There was no, you're exonerated of the responsibility of losing that client, in effect. Because we've had a few team members recently also say, look, I've lost another client. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. It's like, actually, you've done nothing wrong. So actually, it's yes, we want to learn from these things, but also we want to be able to give them, the client managers, the assurance that there's nothing more you could have done. You did absolutely everything. It was inevitable. This is not your fault at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to flesh that out a bit more, I think.
Good. Good.
Play with that.
That'll be awesome. It'd be really interesting to see as well, like if it does have a positive outcome or not. That's it'd be good to kind of see, wouldn't it? And
yeah, it's going to be one of those things that you're going to have to try and look back in a year's time and try and work out, has this improved? So we'll need to look at churn figures and stuff like that, and benchmark ourselves and stuff like that. But yeah, that's our thoughts. So I'm going to play with that a bit more this week as well.
Nice.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's everything from us for this week. So thank you for joining us on episode 197. And we will see you all here, same time, same place, next week for episode 198.
Wow. We're not far from the 200, are we? That's scary times. Scary times indeed.
Should probably do something about that.
We don't have a Lizzie anymore, so
No.
anyone got any ideas, put them in the comment section.
Absolutely.
All right, cheerio.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.